Up next on The Reveal. Thousands of Marine Corps veterans exposed to contaminated water on a military base.
Like my teeth were starting to rot and my hair was falling out and my fingernails was like turning dark and falling out.
The federal government admits the chemical exposure, but why are they refusing to take care of the veterans' health problems?
When I think about it, it makes me want to cry. I didn't ask for this. I didn't do anything wrong.
I was supposed to get a base salary of $4,000 a month.
The thing that drew me to it was a salary position as opposed to commission only.
They were promised jobs. What they got was scammed. Victims from coast to coast now want the company held accountable.
I can't help but to think that David fits a profile of a group of people that many people are afraid of.
But is their son just misunderstood or a real threat? A Georgia family in search of answers. From our Midtown studios in Atlanta, The Reveal begins now with our multi-Emmy and National Murrow Award-winning team of investigators.
Welcome to The Reveal. I'm Faith Abube.
And I'm Brendan Keefe. A military veteran from Georgia exposed to contaminated water on a military base is now suffering skin lesions, rotten teeth, and has lost both of his legs to the same kidney problem.
The military admits up to 1 million service members were exposed to the contamination. Even though the VA promised to take care of these veterans years ago, our Reveal investigation has found it's actually denying a majority of the claims. The veteran we spoke to has been denied 3 times.
The only place Willie Copeland finds peace and comfort these days is here, between the pages of his favorite book.
I've read the Bible through a couple of times and it kind of takes my mind off of everything.
At 55 years old, life has thrown a lot at him. End-stage kidney disease has stolen both his legs, much of his hands, and a lot of his dreams.
Excuse me. When I think about it, it makes me want to cry, because I didn't ask for this. I didn't do anything wrong.
The Marine Corps veteran has no doubt his service in the military is what caused this painful damage to his body, not in combat, but through toxic water, the only water he had to drink, to bathe, and to cook with during his 2.5 years stationed at Camp Lejeune.
And I was drinking like a lot of water, making myself drink water, and I didn't know it was contaminated.
The military admits between the 1950s and 1980s, the water at Camp Lejeune was poisoned by fuel leaks. They say 30 days of exposure is enough to cause concern. They also admit Willie is one of up to 1 million service members potentially exposed to the chemicals. But in a letter to the veteran, the VA says there's no scientific evidence the contaminated water is what caused Willie's kidney problems.
Now that means that the water was pretty bad. If they thought that if you was there 30 days, that your body could be damaged so bad, and I was there over 2.5 years.
He carries a logical stream of events. There wasn't any family history of kidney problems.
Dr. Robert Shea has been Willie's kidney doctor for 15 years. He says given Willie's condition, there's virtually no safe way to give the VA the scientific proof it's asking for without risking the veteran's life.
My feeling is that his case should be completely reviewed. I would certainly make the assumption that he had suffered as a result of exposure.
The VA has denied Willie's medical benefits 3 times in the last 6 years. In documents we reviewed, VA decision makers said they considered 28 pieces of evidence, including medical records, before denying Willie's claims. They say those include a medical exam they performed on Willie in September of 2017. But this screenshot the veteran showed us from his VA account shows that appointment and the appointment after that were both canceled.
It's the kind of process that is often used by insurance companies where you really have to fight for your benefits, even though the right for those benefits is pretty obvious to everybody else around.
So far, the U.S. government has linked 8 medical conditions to the contamination. In emails to The Reveal, the VA says it has approved 74% of claims for those presumptive conditions. So, we requested the raw data. When we crunched the numbers ourselves, we found the administration is actually only approving less than 25% of all the contamination claims. Vets like Willie say the presumptive list isn't comprehensive enough.
They knew the water was contaminated. They knew it was a problem. They knew it was a problem, and now they're refusing to step up to the plate.
The VA has declined our repeated requests for an interview about how the benefits are being processed. Georgia has the highest denial rate. The VA's response to that? A spokesperson said the veterans were denied because there's no evidence of a diagnosis, no evidence that the disability is related to military service, or the condition cannot be established by presumption.
I think it's obviously a system that's not working to the benefit of the people who have been in the military and protected us all.
When Willie enlisted in the Marine Corps at 18 years old, he knew he would have to fight. But this wasn't the fight the Marine anticipated.
I mean, the VA they have failed me miserably over the last few years. I just feel like no one cares. It's just hard to bear sometimes.
Faith, how is Willie doing now?
Well, to be honest with you, he's not doing well. He talks about death a lot. He's made peace with it. His doctors tell me his whole body is failing him right now, and he's at a point where he needs dialysis. The fact that he's even here is a miracle. He was in hospice care with a priest reading him his last rites just a few years ago. He's managed to hang on, and even his doctors don't know how much longer. But he, like the other veterans, just want Congress and lawmakers to just step in and do something about this VA issue.
Coming up on The Reveal.
I feel guilt. I feel naive.
A job offer that turned out to be too good to be true. Welcome back to The Reveal. Unhappy customers from across the nation, including here in Metro Atlanta, are claiming they were scammed by a Minnesota marketing company. They were each convinced to pay thousands of dollars for water treatment equipment that never arrived. The equipment was supposed to be the first step in a lucrative sales job.
It all started when they spotted the job offers here on Craigslist.
I was supposed to get a base salary of $4,000 a month.
The thing that drew me to it was a salary position as opposed to commission only.
I was very interested in the guaranteed salary.
Just 3 of the people from across the country who say they were taken in by a Minnesota company claiming to sell a revolutionary water system.
It's time to produce delicious and healthy water at home.
Were you excited?
I was very excited, extremely excited.
David Maddox from Las Vegas signed up early last year.
Hey Dave, Michael again.
Over the phone, a man calling himself Michael Braun told David he'd be working for WaterTech Marketing of St. Paul, Minnesota, selling a water ionizing machine called a K8.
This revolutionary Kangen water.
The ionized water is supposed to be better for you. The only catch? To sell the machine, WaterTech said you need to buy one.
If you want to be a high-level successful distributor, it is a must that you get a K8.
The units cost $5,000, but WaterTech included a money-back guarantee.
We offer a 90-day refund policy.
And people, including Kevin Mulway of Kansas City, were told their money would be held in escrow.
He said, hey, don't worry about it. Your money's sitting in an escrow account.
Did the word escrow make you feel like your money was safe?
Yeah.
But time after time, people say they paid thousands for machines that never arrived.
How long did it take to get your water machine?
I actually never received the water machine.
Did you ever receive the machine?
No.
Never got the machine.
And those promised monthly salaries didn't arrive either.
It was devastating to me.
Then, in an email last September, the company announced WaterTech was suspending its distributor program.
The immediate pause of our master distributor program.
But Carol Evan discovered that at the same time WaterTech was taking its so-called pause, another company was being created, Water Innovations Group, claiming to sell the same machines, registered at the same St. Paul address, and using the same voice in this new recording, recruiting more people.
We're not like some, company in a garage that just created a website and said, hey, send us money. That's not what it is.
And what about those promised refunds from money supposedly in escrow?
And I want to emphasize emphatically that we will be honoring, of course, all refunds.
Despite promises like that, most of the more than 24 people we talked to from all over the country tell us that they couldn't get refunds either.
geez, there's no response. It's nothing but excuses.
But the sales pitches continued under another new name, Mile High H2O, the new H2O.
I feel guilt. I feel naive.
In Florida, this stay-at-home mom sent the company $5,000, hoping she could make some money after her husband was injured at work.
Our family was in a tough position before, and I put our family in a worse situation. And I have to live with that by looking at my children and my husband, and I don't know how to repair that.
When she couldn't get a machine or a refund, she decided to contact Enagic, the company that makes the K8 machine.
Enagic told me that Mile High H2O were the same people behind WaterTech.
Did Enagic say that these were legitimate companies?
Unfortunately, Enagic told me that Mile High H2O were scammers, and I needed to report everything to the FBI.
In an email, the manufacturer told us they terminated the companies after discovering unscrupulous and unauthorized business activities. So who's behind it all? When we checked these public records for all three companies, we discovered one man listed as the incorporator, Charles Fields of Blaine, Minnesota.
Hi, Charles. This is Lou Bergoose at KARE 11 News. How are you?
We called and knocked on his door, trying to get his side of the story.
Charles Fields did agree to sit down for an interview, and we're all set up ready to go. Then minutes after he was scheduled to begin, he sent an email canceling.
We wanted to ask Charles Fields why people didn't get machines or refunds, and why, when one company seemed to fail, he just created a new one to recruit other people. He never answered those questions, but said in an email he's making progress toward taking care of all the parties we owe anything to. And after KARE 11 began asking questions, some people have gotten refunds, but others have not. And the impact on families goes far beyond just money.
Oh, I totally feel scammed.
Doug Pierce from Kansas thought the water machine sales job would help pay doctor bills after his son developed a brain tumor. Out money and lost time, he's so angry he says he contacted the FBI.
I'm like, how hard is it to just, return people's money?
Thanks, Lou. If you think you were scammed by one of these companies, email us at thereveal@11alive.com.
Next on The Reveal.
Am I feeling these emotions?
It's your perception. That's what I'm trying to get across. It's your perception.
A threat to public safety? Or is he simply misunderstood? One young man's quest to clear his name.
A former special needs student accused of sending death threat to a Gwinnett County teacher has been behind bars for nearly 3 years waiting for a trial.
And David Werth says he doesn't believe there should be a trial. He says clearing his name is more important than gaining his freedom.
Music. It is what moves and motivates David Werth. This is a symphony he wrote as a teenager, performed by his high school orchestra.
How many musical instruments does David play?
Anything he touches. He taught himself to play the violin in 4 days.
And his grades would make almost any parent proud.
He was accepted at Rice and UGA honors.
But David chose Emory, where his parents say he had a 3.9 GPA and a full scholarship at the time of his arrest. It is a stark contrast to the man now behind bars at the Gwinnett County Jail. He has been there for more than 2 years, accused of aggravated stalking.
I can't help but to think that David fits a profile of a group of people that many people are afraid of, and that is he's male and on the autism spectrum.
Werth's parents say it makes no sense he would write a violent, foul-language-filled letter threatening the mass slaughter of a former teacher and her family.
This is a graphic letter.
It is a very graphic, it's an alarming letter.
But just as alarming to David's parents is how their son became a suspect in the first place. In 10th grade, David was placed in a special class to improve his social skills.
Like, you hurt me.
But as you can hear David explain in this recorded meeting with his teacher, he found her style of teaching demeaning and hurtful.
You think I caused you pain. That's what you're saying. You think I did this to you.
Am I feeling these emotions?
Well, David, it's your perception. That's what I'm trying to get across. It's your perception.
Hi, Hazel.
Leslie Lipson is an attorney with the Georgia Advocacy Office, a federally funded organization that helps protect people with disabilities. Lipson has never met David and is not involved in his case, but represents other children fighting to be understood, especially as schools turn to police to enforce the rules.
The data on violence is not any better, but the data on criminalization, especially for kids with disabilities and children of color, is astounding.
And she says a lot does have to do with perception. The day after that meeting to clear the air, the teacher reported David looking strangely at her, and she seemed to grow even more unsettled every time the two crossed paths.
All I could think of is we've got to get something to calm down this anxiety.
So he called David's therapist, relaying his wife's fear that if they didn't get David help, someone might think David wanted to kill his teacher. Did you ever at any point think that he actually would or could harm his teacher?
No, it was all about how he was being perceived by other people.
That is not what the therapist wrote down or reported to the school.
David never said, in fact, David vehemently said, I don't know where this is coming from. This is totally out of the blue. That's not me. I never said anything like that to anybody.
But it is that alleged threat that has been consistently repeated in police reports and court documents. The teacher got a temporary protective order, or TPO, and David transferred to the county's online campus. David says he didn't fight either because the school told him it would delay his graduation, causing him to lose that college scholarship.
So the idea that parents or kids had a choice, but it's really a very coercive decision.
In an environment where we want to make sure that our schools are safe, is there really room for gray?
You know, I do think that we have to trust teachers and intuitions, but also I think there have to be safeguards.
Safeguards for students that just don't behave the way we think they should. When David returned to campus more than a year after his graduation, wearing a disguise to cover his face, police accused him again of stalking. David doesn't seem to understand why anybody cares about his fake beard and sunglasses. He says he just wanted his school records to apply for an honor society at Emory.
I think that decision makers and people in authority oftentimes unconsciously are afraid of people with disabilities or kids with autism because they think that they are more likely to be violent, which is absolutely not true.
But now there is a letter, a 7-page violent email sent to the teacher using the dark web. David's name is never mentioned, but police say the sender is clear. Sitting behind bars, he waits to tell his side of the story. He is no longer in college, but his mom says he is still making music, if only in his head.
He's talking to us and he's composing his pieces, and we will watch him just lean into his violin, and he hears his song, whatever it is in his soul. You can almost, if you listen with him, you can hear it.
David Werth played the piano for the first time since his arrest while at Georgia Regional Hospital. Doctors were trying to determine if he's competent to stand trial. His attorney has filed a motion to seal the results. But I did talk with David after he returned to jail. He says clearing his name matters more than getting out of custody. But prosecutors aren't backing down. Someone did send that letter, and the teacher involved says she still lives in fear.
If you have a news tip or a comment on one of our investigations, email us at thereveal@11alive.com.
Thanks for watching The Reveal, the nation's only weekly local investigative show.
We'll see you next Sunday for The Reveal.